Namaskar, I'm Ashok Vyas. With smile, when we look at challenges that we are facing, it feels a little better. How challenging it is for the US presidential election candidates to face the voters this time. It's not just limited to America. The world is looking towards American election, and people in different countries have their preferences. How that is playing out on the international scale in terms of the stand that European countries would like America to have, or for that matter, India and that region. Is there any special preference that people have about presidential candidates in America? We'll discuss that and a few nuances about this presidential election. And as promised, I have the presence of Professor Amar and Parveen Chopra ji. This time around, I'll begin with the professor and Professor Saab. Every time, who is leading America is considered significant, and it is considered to be the most powerful seat in the world. Whether that power or that perception has changed or not, let us begin with that. Because Trump said under President Biden, America is perceived as a weaker nation. Would you subscribe to that, being a Trump supporter, or you disagree with Trump on that?
I, I do believe that Trump really created an image around the world during his first term that made people very concerned and respectful or afraid, whatever term we might use of him. But let's not forget, he brought the world's worst villains into his fold, whether it was Iran. He put a lid on Iran and threw him out. He took care of Russia by being friendly with Putin. He went to North Korea, although didn't go to the country, but went in the neighborhood to meet North Korean Kim Jong-un. Now, same thing can happen again. And let me not leave that without saying he kept peace. Nobody moved. And then all of a sudden, when Biden was elected, they came out. It's like goblins and ghosts, all that were hiding during Trump's period started to come out one by one. And when they saw what happened in Afghanistan, how like novices they handled the exit, and then every time I see the scene where people are standing on the wings of the plane that is taking off, it seems like, what are we doing? What has been going on? They did not show any concern. And so, and now we also saw how China started to gain its hold, sending out various of our spy satellites and others to look at what Americans were doing. That is how this new world has been created. I am not really against Israel or for Hamas or for Israel and against Hamas, but when I see the Hamas Israeli scuffle going on, I do not believe Biden handled it properly.
Okay, so thank you, Professor Amar. And I think he has taken us on a tour to almost the whole world. Different issues were raised. But going back to the line from where all this started, Parveen ji, whether Trump's assertion that America is perceived as a weaker nation because the way President Biden led the nation, do you agree with that?
No, I don't, because Trump himself, during his term, he threatened to withdraw from NATO. He doesn't think much of that. So that only makes America weaker if you back out of the multilateral agreement
Coalition.
America has. And overall, I see, whether it is because of Trump or President Biden, American power is weakening, and that is a fact, or we should, because civilizations rise and fall, and now probably it is the time of India, China, or whatever other countries.
No, so Parveen, you cannot run away from it. Sorry, sorry, sorry. What you are what you are saying may have some grain of truth in a very generic, general fashion, but while we are pinpointing the actions and their results, so President Biden could, as Professor Amar has narrated, a number of things. Was there a way that these things could have been handled differently? And especially when you remember what happened in Afghanistan, and we heard from Biden administration that they were following the agreements which were in place and which
By
were
President
by
Trump.
President Trump. So how do you see overall?
Yeah, I think Afghanistan is back in history. Right now, we are talking about Israel Hamas thing. I think America, whether it's a Democratic president or Republican president, they'll always support Israel. And this time, Israel did have a point that Hamas killed, attacked that music festival, and so on. So that certainly is true, and
No, no, no,
also,
no, 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 no. See, I'm sorry, Professor Amar. Israel support, whether Democrats or Republican, is one thing, but the way that support results into America's image in the world, that is what we are actually
Okay,
focusing on. Yeah.
fine.
So yeah,
Look at
let him
43.
add to it, because
Okay,
what he said, it didn't actually connected with what I wanted to him
okay.
to address. Yeah.
All right. 40.
Yeah, let Parveen respond. Parveen.
Okay,
yeah. So, like I said, okay, take Ukraine. If Russia wants to take over part of Ukraine or is attacking Ukraine, that America has to support Ukraine. And like the Democrats have been saying, if it was Trump president, he would have said, okay, take the entire Ukraine, or whatever, because he's a friend of Russia, or President Putin. So. Some of these things will happen. Whosoever is the president, they will be wars. Whether during Trump's term there was no war, maybe a coincidence, and
Okay,
now there are wars.
okay, sir. One last very brief one line answer. Do you consider America is perceived as a weak nation, irrespective, and you think that this is the cycle of
Yes,
civilization which
yes,
makes
yes,
okay,
yes, yes.
very well. Let us go with. I mean,
I agree
let
with
us agree to disagree partly. Yeah.
I agree with Parveen on that America is seen as a weak nation. That was not the case 4 years ago. Definitely. There is
Sure.
no debate on that.
Okay, so
Why?
allow me to jump to another reference, because that relates to our region, India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, etc. And the way Bangladesh regime change has taken place, and the role that America, whether this is based on the facts or that is the perception which we hear, I will not get into that. But it seems America has been unfair to the previous leader, as soon as she was ousted, Sheikh Hasina, America revoked her visa to America also. So overall, the role, whether directly or indirectly, or role that America could have played in Bangladesh situation, if we go there and hear Professor Amar, and then I'll come to Parveen.
Yeah. See, I will like to pick up again on Israel and then come to your question. 43,000 Americans are now in or near Israel, trying to protect Israel. Okay. And if we do not send 2,000 pound bombs there, they cannot really cause the damage they did. If there is any kind of sin or any kind of responsibility that falls for this war, America is also in it. Now, other day I saw there was a big news made by Americans. Look at the attack that took place from Iran. It was information was provided by Russia. Now, for Russia providing information to Iran, that was such an intolerable thing in America. But America has been providing all the information regularly and providing, in addition, bombs and equipment and fighters and all that. So this war, whether it is in Israel or it is in Ukraine, it is America's war. It is Biden's war. He could have avoided these wars. Like Parveen said, if it was Trump in the White House and Russia took the whole Ukraine, he will let them take the whole Ukraine. That's not the case. It is really at this hypothetical statement. And you think, like Trump said, if he is elected, even before his inauguration, he could settle the Ukraine war. And I believe it
That
will.
is laughable. That is laughable. That
Okay,
he could overnight solve this problem.
time will tell. It is not a question of settling. It's a question of making parties come to an agreement. There is definitely, if I look at the Russian perspective, Russia is losing its power in such a fast manner. NATO, look at Trump did not want to be funding NATO. America was funding NATO. America is taking losses. America is suffering deficits, trade deficit, because we have to keep other countries happy. We made Japan happy, we destroyed our automotive industry. We made Korea happy, and we lost uh, our telephones, our other equipments. So it is not something that really we have to be doing for too long. We can't keep on paying for the defense of other countries. We cannot accept having people export to us. Like Trump said, we will impose tariff. And I was saying,
Let me interrupt you. Actually, you
okay,
have a lot to say, and I know you didn't touch Bangladesh. So I'll I'll go there also. But I'll come back to you now.
I,
I'm going to Parveen one
No,
second.
there's one more angle to the wars, which
Yeah.
is economical, which is that many people say, I don't know the inside story, that it is the military industrial complex that runs America. There's huge money to be made in sending armaments, bombs, and whatever to various countries, and to keep the wars going on. That is another angle to this whole thing.
So no, let's leave that angle there.
that is going too far.
That is going too far, I think. But allow me to ask you, Parveen, do you see the stand taken by America in the aftermath of what happened in Bangladesh and not having a single statement against the atrocities committed against minorities, in this case Hindus in Bangladesh, and overall kind of supporting Muhammad Yunus left, right, and center? And it seems like he was groomed by America to be where he is based on his hugging picture, pictures with President Biden and some of the background about his Nobel Prize and his closeness with President Obama, etc. But talk to me about your views on the perception that America's role in Bangladesh affair has created for America as a nation. Has it is it working in improving America's image, or it has?
The only thing I have read is that uh, even India approached Muhammad Yunus
Mhm.
about the atrocities on Hindus in Bangladesh. And he said it's not so much ethnic, it is more because people were against the previous regime. And we can say whether America manipulated it, but maybe it was an uprising there. Just like there was an uprising when Bangladesh was created, people wanted that. So the
See, this is controversial, and some people would disagree vehemently with what you are saying. That is why I consciously avoided that part. I'm saying how it has affected America's image, the
Let,
stand that it has taken.
Professor Amar Meno, I don't, I have not read
yeah,
about that.
see, when India created Bangladesh, at that time, Seventh Fleet came and surrounded and did not want it to happen. And India did succeed. Now, now regime problems are again occurring in Bangladesh. The important thing is India should have been handling this. India is the power of the region. And why should America be coming to handle a small country like Bangladesh and not letting India come? America cannot be going and running problems all over the world. And India has stepped in and let India handle it. Biden should have stayed out of it.
So that is where Professor Amar is, and we are also looking at the way the world is considering these two potential presidential candidates. And in general, do you see, Parveen, there is pro Kamala Harris sentiment among European nations or pro Trump sentiment among European nations in general, based on what you read or hear from their media, Parveen?
The Professor Amar said it rightly. There is fear in most world capitals if Trump is elected,
Why?
particularly in Europe, that uh, Russia, because if NATO becomes weaker, then after Ukraine, then Russia can attack other close by neighboring nations and so on. So that is the fear. And so the fear is based on the fact that he tried to weaken NATO, and NATO is a international alliance between America and European countries. And I will add one more thing that Trump even tried to walk out of many other international pacts, like on climate, for example, and that worries everybody in the world, including India. India has been more climate friendly and trying to cut down on carbon emissions and so on. And Trump keeps on talking about energy, and energy comes from fracking and stuff like that. So Trump is not good for the world.
So that is that is a
Trump,
very bold and big statement, which, as he said, is laughable for something else, and this could be laughable for some people. Some people may agree also, but Dr. Amar, I also want us to be focusing on the way Indo-US relation has.
let me first, can I make statement on the world?
Sure.
In fact, Trump has been good for the world for the 4 years he was president. And Trump is going to be on the same track, maybe a little bit more. Keeping peace in the world is more important and not producing armaments and ammunition and giving it to others to fight with each other. Uh, but it is not the rest of the world that has to worry in this regard. The worry is about tariffs, and Trump is going to impose a tariff. You know, China prefers uh, Kamala Harris because China knows what Trump will do. Trump is going to have maybe anywhere from 30% to 60% tariffs imposed on different countries based on how much they send to us and not import from us. Look at Japan, for example. And I was listening to a commentary from J. Paul, and he said, he took a little chuckle and they said, with Japan, we have only one-way traffic. They sell us, they don't buy from us. Same is also true for Korea and Germany and many other countries. They don't want to buy American. They want to only sell to America. So what's wrong if they take money out of us and run their economies? We take a part of it. I am for it. And if Trump gets re-elected, I'm going to apply for this particular efficiency in government program that Elon Musk is going to run. I really believe in tariffs. And I wrote a lot even during Trump's first term.
So I don't know whether we'll have time. I appreciate your point. So going away from Indian reference, now I'm coming to Elon Musk, and there have been voices referring to this special position which Trump has declared for Elon Musk, Parveen ji, having a conflict of interest, because he probably would be also overviewing the performance and the functioning of the companies which are his competitors in improving efficiency and sort of forming policies which would govern these companies. So, how do you see this apprehension of some people about the possible conflict of interest if Elon Musk is given the responsibility in Trump administration?
You're asking me. Okay. It's too far in the future. There has been talk and we read about that, but it may or may not happen. But efficiency in government is a good thing, certainly a very good thing. But to Professor Amar's point about tariffs, I'm not an economist, don't know much about that. But the opponents, critics of tariffs say that eventually the American consumer will pay for that. That the price of goods will increase and so on. And since economy is also one of the topics we are discussing, everybody says the economy was at the peak during Trump period. That's true, but it is also true. Why did economy slump during Biden term? Because it happened when COVID was at its peak. COVID demolished the economy and so on. So the recovery of the economy under the Biden-Harris team has been pretty good, very good. In fact, nobody earlier Trump was talking about unemployment rate and so on. So all that is pretty good. Economy is good.
So what I perceive from both of you is we as voters have certain magnet to draw the kind of information which would strengthen our conviction. Which nothing wrong. That's how human mind functions.
I will add something about Elon Musk.
Okay.
With regard to what Parveen said. It's not too far. It is coming. If Trump is elected, this thing is going to happen before he takes oath of the office. And Elon Musk is the real blessing to America. There has never been a person who did so many good things to America. It was fancy in America to buy foreign cars. They wanted Mercedes, BMWs, even though I don't think they are any good. But this is the image that they built. Now, first time I saw all prominent people bought Tesla, Y car, S car. Anywhere I went, for example, in Hindu temple near my home, I never saw, I will everywhere keep on saying how many American cars are there and how many foreign cars are there. And I rarely saw any American cars, maybe 2 or 3 out of a few hundred. Now, Elon Musk's Tesla has become a big chunk of Indian ownership and rich people's ownership.
So I think we'll have to stop somewhere near here only. But I'll
Okay.
just bring another thread, which we'll probably discuss some other time, which relates to Indo-US relationship, and I think it plays significantly in the context of whether America is perceived as a strong nation or not that strong nation, is somewhere related and tied to the way India works with America. And at the moment, rightly or wrongly, the way India did not hear what was, call it, instructed or suggested, not exactly dictated, in terms of India's stand with buying of Russian oil, or staying away from certain areas which ultimately were in the interest of India, as the perception of Indian leadership, and which helped Indian consumers in India. But they did not go well with America. And I think that has resulted into some other issues, whether the stand taken by Canada, getting a little bit of indirect support from America, which is pro Khalistani sort of stand a little bit. But we will have some other day for in-depth conversation on that. I sincerely want to thank for being honest and genuinely expressing your views and articulating different nuances related to worldview on US presidential election at the moment. Parveen Chopra ji, founder of ALotusInTheMud.com web magazine, Dr. A.D. Amar, uh, not only a professor, but a very agile and proactive academician as far as politics and America is concerned. So I value your presence very much for these conversations. So once again, thanking both of you, and thanking each and every one of you with good wishes for the correct result and transition of power in White House after the upcoming elections. This is Ashok Vyas. Thanks for being with us. Namaste.
And happy Diwali.
Happy Diwali to
Happy
all of
Diwali.
you.